Local presentation of Read About It is made possible in part by a grant from Cox Communications of Oklahoma City, proud sponsor of this effort to promote reading, education, and literacy in our community.
Murder with pets will be the topic on Read About It tonight. Hi, I'm B.J. Williams. Several writers from the short mystery story anthology All Mostly Murder with Pets will talk about the book. Susie Beasley will talk with Joan Shelton. Kids Corner will feature Rosemary Zarsky. We also have Levita Dent, Jim Nimmo, and Arnold Hamilton. Coming up, the authors of All Mostly Murder.
The following public service program is brought to you by the Metropolitan Library System. And now, Read About It, with your host, B.J. Williams.
A couple of weeks ago, I had an opportunity to talk with several of the authors in a collection of short mystery stories called All Mostly Murder with Pets. I think you'll enjoy what Audrey Eggers, Sharon Hudgins, and Judith Sexton have to say about putting that book together. All Mostly Murder with Pets. Audrey, how did you all get inspired to do an anthology like that?
Well, we had met another writer at a conference that we went to and looked up her website when I got home, and she and another group of writers did an anthology of mystery stories and published it themselves. And so Emmy Cooper and I began to talk about it and said, we can do that if they can. And so we did.
Okay. So now, are all of you mystery writers?
I'm not. I've written for women's magazines, and one of my stories in the book, strictly speaking, is not a mystery. The other I wrote for the book.
Okay. So, but you write mysteries?
Suspense.
Suspense, okay. So, did you have to tone it down a little bit for All Mostly Murder with Pets, or?
I dug mine out of my archives, and mine is the shortest story in the book. It dabbles into voodoo, and my pet is an alligator.
Well, I guess different strokes for different folks. So, but that is when, and there are more of you, I'll be talking with the rest of the writers later, so there was a big group of you, but you all decided that you had to have an animal of some kind in it. So you were fortunate you'd already done that, weren't you?
Absolutely.
But now you wrote something specifically for the anthology?
Yes, I did. In the story that I wrote for the anthology, I have a dog who's a cross between a poodle and a pit bull. It's not a handsome dog. In my other story, the animal is a bird, and the bird is there mostly for atmosphere. It was a story that started out as something else entirely and just ended up in the anthology.
And what about you? Did you already have something stashed away?
Yes, I did, and that was probably part of why we wanted to start doing this. We knew other writers who had things stashed away that we thought had been stashed way too long. Mm-hmm. And one of them, I completely changed the point of view. And one I just did a little bit of tweaking to, and one I realized that I knew a lot more about writing than when I had first done it, so it got a lot of tuning up.
Right. Now, with this kind of group effort, did you all designate a specific person as editor, or did you meet in committee and say, yes, this one's got to fit in, no, that one, you need to work on it? How did you do that?
Audrey was our editor, and I'm not really sure how that happened.
I think that happened because Emmy and I started together, and so we decided she would be publisher and I would be editor. We wanted some control. You know, I mean, everybody likes to control things.
This is by invitation only.
Oh, okay.
And with a group of writers, you definitely have to have someone in control.
Right. Or that, you know, that book could have been, what, 15,000 pages of it?
Easily. So. And most of all of the group is from Stillwater Writers or has Stillwater ties. And that's how we all knew each other, and all of us got together on this book.
And now, are most of the stories set in Oklahoma? I know that there isn't anything specific, but some of them do have sort of the atmosphere of Oklahoma. There's one.
Most of them are. Mine's not, of course. Mine's in the bayous of New Orleans.
Well, if that's where alligators feel most at home. So I'm glad you left him to his native habitat, as it were. So, and how did you decide on the length of the book? Was it just
Well, you know, once you know a little bit about books, you know it has to be this length or you've got to go this many more pages. And when we had first gathered the stories up, it ended up being close to a number that is right for what a book is. And I needed, I think, 12 more pages. And I knew one of our writers was very good at writing to specifics. So I called Judith Sexton.
And I said, how long do I have?
And she produced, and she finished out that much of the book.
Well, great. Well, how do you go from the kind of writing you usually do to writing a short story mystery?
I've written short stories before, and it's just a matter of working on the plotting. Of course, with a mystery, the plot has to be so much more developed. You know, it's more plot-driven than character-driven. And so once you get you have to, or I did anyway, I had to develop my story idea first, and then fleshed out my characters and built them around the plot.
This is what fascinates me about mystery writers, is how they come up with the kinds of plots they do. I know that we are always reading about murder and mayhem in the newspaper and on TV and so on, but I'm still fascinated by how do you take that incredible mass of information and distill it down, particularly to a short story, which I think in some ways is much more difficult to write than a novel, because you have to get everything into very few words.
I'm a meat and potatoes writer.
Oh.
I don't find it that difficult.
Mm-hmm.
When you're writing a novel, you just keep going, and you get to play a lot more with the characters and develop them more. And every chapter, you have your cliffhangers. But this is short and sweet.
No. Well, I think getting a character delineated in just a paragraph or something has always fascinated me, the ability to do that when in a novel, as I said, you've got a lot more time to develop it, and you can slowly find out that the detective has a shoe fetish or something like that. You don't have to put it on the first page, sort of thing. So, do you all plan another anthology?
We talked about that our last signing, yes.
We talk about it all the time. We talk about what we will come up with. We like the all mostly murder because all mostly is not really a word, but the English language is a living language, and we thought if people aren't going to contribute to it that aren't writers, why shouldn't writers be doing it? So we're creating new words for the language.
Sounds great.
We have other ideas along the line.
Okay. Now, is the book available in bookstores?
Yes,
Okay.
and online.
And online, and what is the website where they can get it?
You can get it at
Amazon.com.
Amazon.com. You can also get it at Emmy Cooper's website, and I think Deborah Poseidon has it on her website, and Marion Moorhill has it on her website.
And everybody should go to their favorite bookstore, and if it's not there, ask them why not, right?
Definitely.
Yes. Why not? All Mostly Murder with Pets is available. So I want to thank you all very much for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coming up next is Susie Beasley. She'll be talking with Joan Shelton about some of the Spanish language books available in our collection.
Joan, what is this book about, Carmen La Coja by Ana Costello?
It is about a woman who was wanted to be a flamenco dancer, and she is a flamenco dancer. But when she began, she was very poor. Her family was very poor. And when she was about 6 years old, she got polio, which was the scourge of the time that she was, when she was young. And it had left her with her mother didn't take her to the doctor right away because they couldn't afford it.
So she didn't get any treatment?
She didn't at first, but then they took her to the curandera, the woman who does healing and so forth, and that woman said, she is out of my hands. If you don't take her to the doctor right away, she'll be out of their hands too. So they took her to the hospital, and she came out of the polio and but she was crippled. She has her left foot was
was very much
Very much banned.
So this is a Spanish language edition.
Yes, it is. This book is written in Spanish. It's part of the Spanish collection that we have at the Capitol Hill Library. And we have a few books in other libraries, but the major collection is at the Capitol Hill branch.
So this biography on Carmen, it kind of shows her childhood and the devastation from the polio, and then her coming through.
Yes, she came through it. She was sent to a school for everybody clumped together, blind, deaf, crippled. Everybody was just dumped into this one school. And then they didn't do very much of anything for them. But at the age of, I guess when she was in the 8th grade, a new teacher came to the school, and the teacher looked at the children and said, "You can do anything you want to. Don't let anyone tell you differently."
So that was a motivating factor in her life.
Right.
And having this teacher to come and let her know that, yeah, because you have this doesn't mean you can't do things.
Right. So the woman went as therapy for the polio, for the foot. They started dancing, and this teacher was a flamenco dancer who did the therapy, and she became a very good flamenco dancer in spite of the fact that she had this crippled foot and had to wear a brace.
So who would be interested in reading Spanish language editions?
Well, a lot of people in our part of town are Spanish-speaking people and they would like to read books in their own language.
Well, just recently, I had an occasion on one day, I had 4 customers at Midwest City asking for Spanish language editions. Of course, we only had 2, I believe. One by Isabel Allende, and the other one was on, I believe it was on the Tijuana Singer. So what other materials does the Capitol Hill Library have that's Spanish language?
We have a lot of books in fiction. This is a fiction book. And we do have a collection of books on nonfiction subjects.
Right, that are in Spanish.
All kinds of things. We have a lot of books on discipline.
Well, Joan, we really appreciate you coming and sharing with us Carmen La Coja by Ana Castillo. And this book is Spanish language edition, available at the Capitol Hill Library through system reserve to any library in the Metropolitan Library System, and perhaps at a specialty bookstore. Thank you. We'll see you next time.
Yo, see that girl? She sets the curve in my math class. Always has her homework right. Me? I hate homework, but I gotta do it, you know? But I found out her secret. She logs on to the Metro Library website and then clicks on their homework center. I couldn't believe what they have there. Help for math, science, English, and lots of other stuff too, like encyclopedias, newspapers, magazines, even science experiments. Metro Library's Homework Center website is one-stop shopping. You can even find the phone number of the nearest library so you can renew your library books. Check it out. It's like having the resources of an entire bookstore right in your computer. And since it's from Metro Library, you know the information will be dependable and up to the minute. But hey, I gotta go and log on and get to work. From now on, I'm setting the curve.
With me again is Lavita Dent, who works in programming with the Metropolitan Library System. One of these days I'll learn the title, Lavita. But she is here to tell us about some of the programs that are going to be happening in the system in the coming weeks. And you were telling me that these all have to do with not just the toddlers, but parents and toddlers.
Right. We, besides our regular story times and our springtime programs, we have family place programs that are going on, and this includes the parent-child workshops, where we invite professionals from the community to come, and parents with their young children 18 to 36 months. And the parents get an opportunity for kind of an informal question-answer session with these professionals, like a nutritionist, a child development specialist, a speech pathologist, all of these different individuals from our community that can answer questions they may have about their child's development.
Okay. And there's something special happening at Village coming up, isn't there?
Right. They begin these parent parent-child workshops April the 3rd. It's a Thursday, and they will run for 5 weeks every Thursday morning.
Now, do you need to pre-register?
Yes, these have to be pre-registered because of limited space available. And so it's very important to get pre-registered for these, and you need to go into the libraries to register for the parent-child workshops.
Okay, so you can't just call up the village library and say, I'll be there next Thursday.
Right, they have guidelines that they'll give you and information about the 5 weeks coming up, so it's important for you to go into the library to get that information.
Okay, great. Now, you were also talking about something that intrigues me. It's toddler aerobics.
Yes. Week of the Young Child is April 7th through the 12th, and each day we're celebrating a different aspect of a child's development. And Monday is Share a Book Day, and we're going to invite some celebrities. But on Tuesday is Health and Fitness Day, and one of the things that some of the libraries are doing to participate is offering a toddler aerobics, which is songs and activities designed to help children in developing their fine and gross motor skills, which will help them in later learning.
Okay. Now, if we want to find out more about these programs and about all the other programs available at the library, then people can go right to the website, can't they?
They sure can, www.metrolibrary.org, and the calendar for each month is on there for the next 2 months. And also, there's a Metro Library magazine in each library that highlights and gives more information about the programs as well.
Great. Thanks very much, Levita.
Thank you.
We've had with us Levita Dent telling us about programs at our libraries. And coming up next, we've got Kids Corner. Kelly Rhea will be talking with Rosemary Zarsky about a book for our young adults.
Hi, today Rosemary Zarsky from the Choctaw Library is here. She's brought a really fabulous teen book, is this correct?
Elementary, upper elementary and teen.
Okay, and it's called The Babs Switch Story. It's by Darlene Bailey Beard. Tell me why you brought this book today.
Well, I've enjoyed Miss Beard's books. She does a lot of books based in Oklahoma, and this is another one of a tiny, tiny, tiny dot on the map that actually had United States-wide impact on the way we deal with public buildings for safety issues.
Really? Wow, how interesting. It actually spurred some civic action? Great.
It was a rather tragic way to do it because 35 people lost their lives. But the story is using that as the frame. And what this story is about is a young girl growing up in rural Oklahoma where you provide your own entertainment. And she is, shall we say, handicapped with a mentally challenged sister who is older than her. So instead of having a big sister, she's got a sister that she has to watch to keep her out of.
That's a lot of responsibility for a young one.
It is, but she's a typical young one about it. Sometimes she loves her sister very dearly, and sometimes she just resents the heck out of her.
Oh, and siblings are just like that.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I know kids would enjoy this. What age group is this book for?
This book is for upper elementary, say 4th grade to about 7th grade. There's a little romance in there which will appeal to the 6th and 7th graders. Boys will enjoy this, even though it's a girl protagonist. The boys will enjoy this because there's a real stinker of a guy in there that'll probably end up, after this book, marrying Ruthie, but...
Oh, goody. Somebody with some spark.
Oh, yes.
Oh, they'll really enjoy that. And so the book itself was based on an actual event. And Darlene Bailey Beard is from
Oklahoma.
So if there's any teens out there that think that they might like to write, there's a good example of why they might. Excellent. Well, Rosemary, I'm glad you brought The Babs Switch Story by Darlene Bailey Beard. It's very good. You can find it at your local library or at your favorite bookstore.
Thanks, Kelly and Rosemary. It's time now for the New York Times bestseller list. We'll start out with hardback fiction. Number 10 on that list is Crossroads of Twilight by Robert Jordan, The Dante Club by Matthew Pearl, Tattooing Ghost by Troy Denning, The Confessor by Daniel Silva, The Last Detective by Robert Crace, Someone to Watch Over Me by Judith McNaught is number 5. The Lovely Bones by Alice Sebold, Dating Game by Danielle Steele, The King of Torts by John Grisham is number 2, and The Jester by James Patterson and Andrew Gross is number 1. On the nonfiction list, number 10 is Hatred's Kingdom by Dory Gold, Good to Great by Jim Collins, Useful Idiots by Mona Karen, This Just In by Bob Schieffer, What Should I Do With My Life by Poe Bronson, Jarhead by Anthony Swofford, The Hunt for Bin Laden by Robin Moore is number 4, Stupid White Men by Michael Moore, The Savage Nation by Michael Savage is number 2, and Eric Larson's The Devil in the White City is number 1. On the children's list, at number 10 is The Vile Village by Lemony Snicket, The Austere Academy by Lemony Snicket, The Miserable Mill by Lemony Snicket, Junie B., First Grader, Toothless Wonder by Barbara Park, The Wide Window by Lemony Snicket, Dancing in My Nutty Pants by Louise Renison, The Reptile Room by Lemony Snicket, The Carnivorous Carnival by Lemony Snicket, Crispin, The Cross of Lead by Avi is number 2, and number 1 is Lemony Snicket's The Bad Beginning. Coming up next, we have Jim Nemo from the Downtown Library. He'll be talking with Doug Benton. Actually, Doug Benton will be interviewing Jim about one of our classical CDs.
Hello again, everybody. I'm here once more with Jim Nemo to discuss a latest addition to our classical music collection on CD for the library. Jim, hello.
Thank you. This is my 3rd time. I hope it's the charm. Maybe I'll be invited back.
Oh, I'm sure you will be. Although, you did talk about accordions one time. And then we moved on to woodwinds and now full orchestra.
Well, it's not as bad as bagpipes, though.
That's true. That's true.
Well, today I brought a CD played by the San Francisco Symphony, consisting of 2 symphonies by Gene Sibelius, Symphonies number 3 and number 6. In my first 2 appearances here on this show, I brought music featuring the accordion and woodwind instruments. So as a form of balance to those wind-oriented CDs, I brought a CD which features the strings, I think, and to very great effect. They're played by the San Francisco Symphony, another one of America's great orchestras, and they're my personal favorites. I find them atmospheric and very moody, but at the same time they're exhilarating, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. I think for people who aren't familiar with Sibelius's music, what they know is Finlandia.
Finlandia, yes. It's a very great tune. It's often played in arrangements for band, and it was originally written for a symphony orchestra. It was a great patriotic piece that he wrote to help bring about in Finland the emancipation from Russia. Finland was at one time a colony of Russia, and there was a great emancipation movement in Finland, and Sibelius was very much involved with that, much as Verdi was in Italy in building up an independence movement.
Right. So if our listeners don't know, if they think they don't know Finlandia, they probably do.
Yes,
it's one of those melodies that you're familiar with without maybe knowing what it's called.
Yeah, in the central portion of Finlandia, there's a quiet hymn tune that I'm sure is sung in many churches with different words depending on which denomination you're attending. And so that's going to be very familiar. But that same style, that same moodiness is reflected in the 2 symphonies as well.
Okay, that is. Would you say that is the Sibelius sound, if you will?
Yes, he's often equated with the snow-swept scenes of Finland or the Arctic. And sometimes that's true, but it's sort of stereotyping. He has a much more general appeal, I think. And in fact, if someone were wanting to get interested in classical music for the first time, they didn't know where to begin, or if they think it needs a lot of sophisticated background knowledge, I think that this would be a good CD to use as a first step, or maybe even a second or third step, because the music, I feel, for anyone is immediately attractive and immediately has a variety and continuity to it that draws you into it.
Okay. All right. Again, it's Sibelius, Symphonies number 3 and 6 from the San Francisco Symphony. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll see you all again soon.
Thanks, Doug and Jim. Coming up next is M.J. Vandeventer, Director of Publications for the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum. She'll be talking with Arnold Hamilton, who is Bureau Chief for the Dallas Morning News here in Oklahoma City. And Arnold has a book he really wants to share with you.
Arnold, welcome to Read About It.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
And you're reading a very large book, an incredible book.
All of Robert Caro's books on Lyndon Johnson have been long and in-depth and very vivid and rich in detail. And they take, for someone like me with the schedule that I have, it takes several months generally to wade through.
Oh, I can imagine. This book has been called the most admired, riveting political biography of our time.
Well, and of course, not only is Robert Caro an incredible writer, and he paints a portrait of Lyndon Johnson that I think few probably could have. But the reality is that he has incredible material to work with. Lyndon Johnson was a remarkably complex individual. As we know and have learned from Caro, he could be the most compassionate person on the face of the earth, and he could be about as close to evil as you could come.
There was a dark side to his character, wasn't there?
There really was, and it evolved from his constant quest for power. He had a need for power. He had a need to be controlled, in control that perhaps was born of his youth, his hardscrabble youth in the Texas Hill Country, where his father was a man of some stature, served in the Texas legislature for a number of years, and then basically lost it all and ended up working on a highway crew in Texas. And the family lived in fear for years that it was going to lose its house. It had difficulty putting food on the table and so forth. And Johnson had an insatiable thirst for power. And as a result, he felt the need, for whatever reason, to dominate the people around him. He could be so ugly and mean to those who worked for him, for example.
Very manipulative.
Exactly, that he would order them to come in while he sat in the bathroom and took care of his business, and he would dictate to them because it was a measure of control and power that he could call them in and demand that they be in his presence at that location.
When I talked to you about coming here, you said you thought you had learned more about the Senate than you ever wanted to know from reading this book.
Well, that's true, but I'll tell you something. The first 100 or so pages of this particular volume, the third of the 4 that Robert Caro will do on Lyndon Johnson, is perhaps the finest primer on the United States Senate that I have ever come across. And I'm something of a political junkie and have a master's in political science and find it very interesting. But boy, it really takes you through from what the Founding Fathers had hoped would be created by the United States Senate, and then what really evolved through the golden age of the Senate in the 1800s, and then the Southern control of the Senate in the 20th century.
And Johnson really was the master of the Senate.
He was, and of course, working alongside the uncrowned king of the Senate from Oklahoma, Robert S. Kerr. That was a remarkable era in American politics, I think, because of the power that these individuals wielded. We may not see the likes of them again.
Well, we thank you so much for sharing this book with us today. We hope you'll come back.
I would be happy to. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Donna Morris, Executive Director of your Metropolitan Library System. You know, experts tell us it's never too early to begin reading to a child. If you spend just 20 minutes a day reading to a child, you're not only building a bond that lasts a lifetime, but you're helping that child to prepare to learn how to read. Visit us at the Metropolitan Library System and let us help you select just the right books for you and your family. And be sure and visit our website at www.metrolibrary.org.
Check us out on the web at www.metrolibrary.org. It has everything you ever wanted to know about your library, including all the books, CDs, and videos we have in our collection, and the programs that you can go to at any of our libraries. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you again next time.
local presentation of Read About It is made possible in part by a grant from Cox Communications of Oklahoma City, proud sponsor of this effort to promote